I survived 100 days in Minecraft Skyblock, and this is how I did it.
When you load a new world into Minecraft, you actually start on day 0 instead of day 1, but here we go, and we load in, and of course it's raining. Just of course it is. But day 0 is pretty basic. I mined my tree, set up the cobblestone generator, and got to mining cobblestone. Yeah, we're going to be doing that a lot this series. We expanded our island to make sure we could get a sapling, and then we went right back to mining cobblestone. We then started our bridge to the sand island, but quickly ran out, so we had to go back and mine more cobblestone. The next day, we finished our bridge to the sand island and we looted everything, making sure not to leave any of it behind because we needed it all. Also went back, chopped this tree down, and we went right back to mining cobblestone because for anything I'm going to build in this world, I'm going to need a bunch of cobblestone. We also then expanded our island a little bit and we could make a little bigger of a tree farm. We also built our nether portal and used wooden lava to light it since we don't have any steel. In the nether I found mushrooms, an ice block, sugarcane, and a birch sapling. With the ice I made my infinite water source, and then I planted my sugarcane and birch saplings so we could get those growing as soon as possible. Also killed a zombie. He gave me rotten flesh, which was a decent food source. So finish that day by expanding the island. The next day, we upgraded our cobblestone generator, so now we could get more cobblestone faster. We also planted our melon and pumpkin seeds so we could start growing those. And then we started grinding materials to construct our mob farm. So whenever trees would grow, we'd chop those down, and then we still need more cobblestone, so we mined a bunch of cobblestone. On night 3, we got attacked by a phantom, but luckily I was able to kill him without too much difficulty. 10 night 3, we also had our birch tree grow, so that was nice. On day 4, we expanded our tree farm a little more, so now we could get more trees growing, and we began construction of the mob farm. We're just going to build pretty much the standard mob farm with water and trapdoors, but I forgot to make torches, so I couldn't work on it at night. So instead, I just grinded trees to make my trapdoors and mined cobblestone because we still needed more. The next day, I built up the walls of the mob farm. I also built in the spawning platforms for the mobs, and then placing down the trapdoors. And I find this oddly satisfying, flipping them all down for some reason. Also built the roof out of hash slabs so mobs couldn't spawn up there and only spawn in the farm, but once again I forgot to craft torches, so I spent the night chopping trees down, which I'd used to craft more trapdoors and mine more cobblestone because I still don't have enough. And as you can see, I've some mobs have spawned under the mob farm that I'll have to deal with. But luckily, most of them died and I only had to kill one skeleton. Day 6, I placed in my trapdoors, and then I broke this block to go get more wood to craft trapdoors, so mobs can spawn up there. And then this is where a disaster kind of happens. I go down, and there is a skeleton and a zombie, and I see the skeleton's on the edge, so I'm going to go try to hit him off, but he walks to the middle, and now I'm getting hit in the back, and the skeleton shoots me, and I die. And the one thing that I really need for this challenge is my water bucket, and I just died with it, and of course it fell into the void. So at this point, I'm pretty much just thinking the challenge is over and that I can't really continue because I need that water bucket. But after regrouping and gathering more materials, I realized that I'd placed all the water in the mob farm that I need, and that I can now get iron from zombies. So the challenge wasn't over, and I went back to work on the mob farm, placed slabs to finish up the roof, and then making sure to flip all the trapdoors down so that the mob farm would actually work. To finish up the mob farm, I just need to build the tunnel all the way down to the floor level so that mobs would be forced down there. Now I just need to place slabs around this so that nothing can hit me or blow me up, but of course I get blown up. I quickly was able to block off the tunnel so no more mobs could kill me, but I need more blocks and I need to regenerate my heart, so I eat some rotten flesh and I go back to mining cobblestone so I can finally finish up this mob farm and get it working how it's supposed to work. But of course I try to do the same thing and I get blown up again. And now a whole bunch of mobs fall, and now I got a real problem on my hands. Quickly run away and I block it up with the little blocks I have left. And I light up this platform and I ate the rotten flesh because that's the only thing I've eaten. I go back and try to kill all the mobs. Luckily there are no skeletons that followed me, so I just had to kill them. Even though there's a creeper hiding, I was able to kill him quickly. But now there's a bunch of skeletons and a creeper by the mob farm. I get the skeletons to lock onto me, but that dude shoots me from 20 blocks, and he shoots me from 20 blocks, and I die. But I already lost my water bucket, so things can't really get worse, so I just need to kill these mobs and block it up. So I get that skeleton to walk off for some reason, then I punch the creeper and he falls off, and I'm able to kill the zombie. So now I quickly run over to the mob farm, kill a skeleton, and I pick up some slabs that the creeper blew up, and I place them so the mob farm is now blocked off. This time I broke the blocks from the side so that nothing could blow me up or hit me while they fell. But I forgot to place a block at the bottom, but I had the half slabs there, so that prevented them from flying everywhere. So to get the mob farm fully functional, I just had to kill them and place a block there. I guess the good thing about all this was that a bunch of mobs spawned, so I now had a bunch of bones and rotten flesh that I could use to grow stuff and heal myself. After doing some grinding at the mob farm, I got my first iron back, so I was 1/3 of the way there to bucket. Days 8 through 10, I'm not sure if I forgot to record or if the file corrupted, but I couldn't access them when I was editing. But basically all I did was I went and trapped a witch in this little enclosure that I built, and I had trapped a couple of zombie villagers so I could start getting access to villagers. I also needed gold to make into golden apples for this, so I built some spawning platforms in the nether and a killing chamber, but of course I built them in a soul sand valley so pigments couldn't spawn there. So the next couple of days I built a bigger spawning platform in the right biome so pigments could actually spawn. I also made sure to place half slabs around it so gas couldn't spawn, or at least so I thought. And pretty instantly, of course, a gas spawned, but luckily I was able to kill him and I actually got the achievement, so I guess that's kind of cool. I went and re-gas proofed it and made it a little bigger, and as you can see, it's working pretty good. So now I just need to make a bridge from that platform to the killing chamber I built earlier. And now it's time to test it, so I shoot the pigmen to anger them, and they all aggro onto me, and they should all fall into the killing chamber where I can kill them and get their gold nuggets to craft into gold ingots. Here I noticed there was a baby pigman riding a chicken, and I thought about keeping him alive and trying to lure the chicken to the overworld, but I figured it wasn't worth it, and chickens weren't too helpful for me at this point. But after doing some grinding at the gold farm, I crafted all their nuggets into ingots, and now I had enough gold to make 2 golden apples, and then built another enclosure where I'd heal the zombie villagers, so I let the witch loose. I lured her over here. I want to trap her in a boat so she can't walk away. So she poisoned herself, and I realized she was going to drink a bunch of healing potions and not throw other potions, so I pushed her into the boat. And now I let this guy out of the boat, and then I let the other zombie villager out of the mob farm. And now I just need to get them in a boat right next to the witch. So after waiting for them to aggro onto me, I run over right next to the witch, place my boat down, and luckily they both hop in pretty quickly. So now I just heal up, and I wait to get a weakness potion thrown. But of course she threw an instant damage and killed me there. But after a while she threw in weakness, and I fed the zombie villagers golden apples, and then she threw another instant damage, and I died. But now I killed the witch because I didn't need her anymore, and I just had to wait for the zombie villagers to cure and turn into normal villagers. So while I waited, I went and chopped down some trees, and eventually I got the achievement, which means I cured the zombie villager. But when I went back, for some reason, one of the villagers died. Looking back, I'm guessing it's because he suffocated for some reason. I don't know why this one didn't, but the other one did. But I boated him back to the main island so that he would be safe. And now I needed to do that whole process again. So I trapped another zombie villager in a boat, and now I just had to wait for a witch to spawn. Luckily, that didn't take too long, and I got one to spawn pretty quickly. But now I needed to block it up, but that wasn't very difficult. I just went up and blocked it up pretty easily. But that means I need to get another golden apple, so I went back to the gold farm and grinded some gold. Thankfully, this didn't take too long. So I crafted the nuggets into ingots, I crafted my golden apple, and I let the witch loose. And I tried to trap her in a boat by hiding behind the zombie, but that didn't work, so then I hid behind these 2 blocks, and eventually she walked into the boat. Yep, just like that. So now I just need her to throw a weakness potion, which we saw was kind of difficult last time, but eventually she did, and I fed the zombie villager the golden apple, and now we just have to wait. After critting out this witch for like 5 minutes because she was chugging healing potions, I killed her, and now I just had to wait for the villager to heal. And once he did, I boated him back to the main island so he'd be safe. Now I had access to villagers. After doing some more grinding at the mob farm, I got some more iron, and now I had enough iron to craft a bucket again. So things were finally starting to look up. As well, I had enough string to craft a bed, so I could finally go to sleep. Going forward, I'm going to try to limit how much I sleep, just because I don't sleep throughout the challenge, but I'll sleep periodically to get rid of like the rain or get rid of phantoms. The next day, I finally crafted my bucket, and I finally had my water bucket back. Finally. So the next day, I wanted to build a piglin trading area, because piglin trading's unlocked a lot of stuff that I didn't have access to right now. So I started setting up these little pods for them, and little did I know this was going to be a lot more difficult than I initially thought. I thought it'd be pretty simple. I'd just throw the gold in, they'd go in, and then I'd block them up. First guy, no problem. But for some reason, this guy, he didn't want to lock on to the gold. So I loop back around and thinking to lock on, but he kills me instead. So when I go back in, he's actually looking at my gold sword, and that's why he's not attacking me, so I'm able to get all my items back pretty easily. I'm safe now, but now I need to trade or get more gold to distract the piglins, so I do some grinding at the gold farm. And now I let way too many of them over here, and now they're all mad at me. I could have crafted gold armor here, but I wanted to use that gold to trade instead, and I didn't think it'd be this difficult. But luckily, only one of them followed me, and I was able to kill him. Throwing out some nice strafes and jukes. Woo! Woo! Yeah, this me. And then heal up, and then try to lure them in, and one of them goes in, and this guy won't go in. For some reason, he doesn't care about the gold, he only wants me. I juke around him, and I think I'm gonna be safe, and no, he kills me. Luckily, my food went through the portal, so I got that. And then I go back in, and I try it again, and I trap this guy easily. He locks onto the gold, and then I throw another gold. And this guy locks onto it pretty easily. I don't know why the other ones didn't do that, but I finally trapped 3 of them, so now I have enough to actually trade with them. So then I spent a bunch of time grinding at the gold farm to get enough gold nuggets to crafting the ingots to trade with them. I then wanted to start working towards a villager breeder, but to do that I needed a lot of potatoes, carrots, or bread to breed them, so I built this little farmland where I'd start growing my potatoes. And to speed this process up, of course, I'm going to use bone meal. I think to get the villager breeder to full efficiency, I need like 9 stacks, so this is going to be kind of a long process. So just kind of start working on it. But I also wanted to make it bigger, and I needed more dirt for that. So I went to the nether, and I started trading with piglins in the hope of getting gravel. Because with gravel and dirt, you can make coarse dirt, and then you can hoe that dirt and then make it normal dirt again. And basically, it's a way to get unlimited dirt if you have gravel. So I spent the next couple days trying to get a gravel trade. I think I only got like 1, so I guess that's better than none, but not as much as I'd hoped for. I then went back and then bone mealed my potatoes. I then sped up the villager breeding platform. I then went over to the mob farm, killed everything so I can get some bones to bone meal my potatoes with. I also needed a whole bunch of string to make into beds and carpet for this villager brooder. So I could get string by either killing stuff at the mob farm or through piglin trading. So I'd kind of alternate between the two, because originally I thought it'd just be better to trade with piglins, because then I had a chance to get string and gravel, but I just didn't get any string or gravel. It was a much lower chance than I must have originally thought. I think after doing a couple of trades, I got one string trade and one gravel trade. So at this point, I realized it kind of wasn't worth it. So I went back to the overworld and grinded that mob farm instead. I then went back to bone meal my potatoes because I'm going to need so many of them. So I'm just going to kind of keep doing this, bone mealing the potatoes, breaking them, and then replanting them all. I then figured I might as well start laying out the foundation for the villager breeders while I wait. This is the chute where the baby villagers would drop. I figured I might as well place the one bed I have. So I need 3 beds and 4 pieces of carpet. I finally had enough potatoes, and then I kind of spent the rest of the night bone milling trees to get wood because I was waiting for more mobs to spawn in the mob farm and hope that spiders would fall to their death. I then went back into the nether and tried piglin trading again, and I got like 1 string trade. So the problem with the mob farm was that it's a 2x2, so the spiders would climb back up when they fell. So I figured I'd try to shoot him, but of course a creeper falls on me and blows me up, and then another creeper falls and he blows me up again and blows up my chest. Luckily I block it up pretty quickly without any further damage, but I was getting a little deja vu at this point. So I fixed it all, I made another chest and went back to work grinding the mob farm. Eventually I got enough string from the mob farm. I placed in my beds for the villagers. It's a pretty standard villager breeder, nothing crazy. Placed my carpets down and placed my trapdoors down. So now all that was left was to get the villagers to come up here and fall in, which was what is going to be a lot more difficult than I realized. Also made sure to smelt more potatoes to get more baked potatoes. Also finally got some seeds. I then wanted to lure the villagers up with food because I thought that'd be a nice easy way, but they just wouldn't see the food. In fact, whenever I threw food down, they'd go up 1 block and then I'd throw it up the next block and they'd kind of run the opposite direction for some reason. Yeah, just like that. Then decided it'd be a good idea if I just placed a workstation up there and then the villager could see it and walk up to it. But of course I forgot that it was night and villagers of course do not work at night, so this was pointless. Once I realized that, I just put the villagers in a boat and waited till it was daytime. Now he should get his job, yep. Now I could lure him up. I thought it'd be much easier, but of course it wasn't because villagers are dumb. And he just doesn't want to see the workstation. Also, I just tried pushing him over, and then I just put it on the top and then hope he'd see it and walk up. And eventually he did and walked most of the way, but he wouldn't go all the way for some reason. And I threw food to get him to move. And I trapped him up here. And I tried trapping him, but he was still there, and he just was not cooperating with me at all. And it was very frustrating, actually. I hate villagers now, so. But eventually I got him over the trapdoor, trapped him, and then dropped him in. So that was 1 of 2 villagers. So I basically had to do that again somehow. But this guy I was able to lure up with food. I don't know why he wanted food more than the other one. But once he got up here, I trapped him so he couldn't fall back down. And then I kind of just pushed him into place until he was above the trapdoor. But of course, when I finally trapped him, I tried to open the trapdoor and he wouldn't fall, so I had to push him. But as soon as I pushed him in, they started breeding, and now they should make baby villagers. So I broke that all down, and then I threw them a bunch more food, and now they should make unlimited villagers, pretty much. So I broke everything down, and yep, we got our first baby villager, and now they'll just keep breeding, and we have access to unlimited villagers. So with unlimited villagers, the first thing I wanted to do was set up an iron farm, so I got to work immediately building a platform for our iron farm. I also went back, mined more wood, and mined more cobblestone because we're going to need a lot of supplies for this iron farm, so I got to work right away while I waited for these baby villagers to grow up because I need them to be adult villagers to spawn iron golems. One of them had grown up, and then the third one, he was still a baby, so I'd have to wait for him to grow up. But I brought them all over here so we could get to work as soon as they were ready. But I also had unlocked villager trading with villagers. So the first thing I made was a lectern to get a librarian, because I really wanted glass for some reason. Because the only way to get glass is through smelting sand, and you have a limited supply of sand, so glass was kind of super rare and I wanted to use glass. But I needed to upgrade the librarian, and I didn't have enough sugarcane to turn into paper, so I found the best villager to get emeralds quickly was a Fletcher. He trades sticks for emeralds, so I basically went and bought him out of emeralds with sticks, and then I could use those emeralds that I just purchased to trade with the librarian and try to upgrade him. But this was going to be a long process, so I kind of just kept doing it over and over again until I realized it was going to take way too long. And for my iron farm, I needed a zombie that wouldn't despawn, which I could use a name tag for, but I don't have a name tag. Or I could use a boat and use a piston to push it into a 1 block space so it won't despawn. But there's 2 different ways I could get redstone. One is from witches, which have a chance to drop redstone when killed, or I could use a cleric villager and trade with him. But for that, I needed a blaze rod. And you can get blaze rods in Skyblock, but I tried killing the switch first, but unfortunately I didn't get it. So I took the seed of this world, I copied it, and I loaded up into another world, and I put it in creative mode. I then went to the nether in that world and located the nearest fortress, and it was like 400 blocks away, which normally isn't too bad, but it's kind of far to bridge in Skyblock. So I went back to just killing witches. But I wasn't having any luck, so while I waited for more to spawn, I went back to trading sticks for emeralds. This guy's now trading me 31 sticks for 1 emerald, so I'm really getting a good deal now. But then I'd trade those with the librarian, try level him up, and then I went back to chopping trees down and had a witch spawn, killed her, didn't get anything. But I figured while I waited to get redstone, I could set up a manual iron farm. And for a manual iron farm, all you need is a zombie to scare 3 villagers, and those 3 villagers need to have access to a bed or be able to sleep. So that's not too resource intensive, so I went over here, I trapped this zombie in a boat and made sure he was covered so he couldn't burn. In the meantime, I went and gathered all the resources I need for the actual iron farm. Then I decided it'd probably be better to get 2 new villagers over there and switch them out with the ones that I traded with, so I could keep trading with the villagers I had already traded with and keep leveling them up. So I voted my Fletcher and librarian back. I also had enough string to craft my wool into 3 beds. I also had another witch spawn, and I killed her, and she dropped me a health potion, which is kind of cool, I guess, but not what I'm looking for. I also had enough beds, and now I just need to scare the villagers. So I built this structure, and the villagers are panicking, and they can sleep, and I got my first iron golem to spawn. So I shot him until I killed him, and I got my first iron. Well, not first, but first iron from an iron golem. I then spent the rest of the night shooting and killing iron golems, and this was a lot more fun than it should have been, but I really enjoyed it for some reason. I also kept making sure to go over to the mob farm and killing any witches that had spawned, and I finally got a witch spawn. I killed it, and it finally dropped redstone, so I can finally make my automatic iron farm.
I then got everything I needed, crafted my piston, and then got to work. So I trapped this zombie in a boat, and then I used my piston to push the first of 2 blocks I needed to push. So just like that. And then I'm going over here, and he hits me, and I die. And I spawn in the villager breeder because I had set my respawn with their beds. But I go gather everything. At this point, I can't lose anything that's too important because I have farms to get everything back. But I set up the piston and I push this block into place, and now the zombie's stuck and he can't despawn. So I built these villager cells, made sure to light them up so zombies can't spawn, and then used workstations to lure the villagers in. This time getting the villagers to cooperate was much easier. I built the spawning platform and used the water to push the golems off the edge. I then built their killing chamber where I would collect their iron. I then broke these blocks so the villagers could see the zombie, and then they'd start to panic, and we should get an iron golem spawning. Yep, right there. So then I spent the next day or so mining down the staircase. I then placed a campfire to kill the iron golems that fell down there, and then I built these rings around the killing chamber so the iron golems couldn't fall off to the side. And then I had my renewable source of iron. I spent the rest of the day mining trees because I now wanted a cleric villager, so I went in the nether and I started bridging towards the coordinates that I'd found before. But this is kind of where I made a interesting discovery. I guess whatever map I downloaded the Skyblock world from didn't do a very good job of getting rid of the blocks in a big radius, and it's probably only like a 400 block radius. But that's where my fortress was, so I wasn't really sure what to do because I wanted to stay with the theme of Skyblock, and it kind of felt like cheating if I were to go run over there, so I kind of just left it for now and I'd figure something else out later. I also start building this platform where I wanted to build my crop farm, but I got attacked by phantoms, so I ran back to my main island to safety, and then I just kind of waited for daytime to roll around. But that is going to do it for part 1. The series will be continued, but please make sure to like and subscribe as it helps me out immensely as I'm such a small channel and I put a lot of time into making this video. But thank you for watching. See you next time.